From KCUR, this is Up to Date with Steve Kraske. I'm intern Ellen Beshuk. Did you know that some families give as much as 22% of their income to pay for childcare? And for others, the price is higher than their mortgage payments. So to help correct this childcare system, the state of Missouri is providing $2.5 million to Childcare Works. This new program aims to balance childcare costs between parents, businesses, and the state of Missouri. Steve spoke with Dr. Toni Sturdivant, who is the Director of Early Learning at the Mid-America Regional Council, and she's getting Childcare Works started in Kansas City, Missouri.
Dr. Sturdivant, good to have you here. Welcome.
Thank you. Good morning.
What is it like for parents right now in Kansas City who are trying to get childcare?
It can be very difficult.
Yeah.
So we have a shortage, extreme shortage, especially in infant toddler care, where we need about 32,000 more infant and toddler seats. So families with very young children may have trouble finding childcare at all.
You're saying there's a need for 32,000 more seats for these youngsters?
Yes,
Yeah.
in licensed childcare. Yes. So
Wow, that's a lot of need.
yes, it's a huge need. And for families that can find childcare, affording it is an issue.
So you have two problems going on. Maybe they're connected. There's this shortage, and then there's the cost of paying for it.
Correct. So it is connected because although families are struggling to afford the cost of childcare tuition, providers are not charging nearly what they need to charge in order to remain staffed and think about expanding to be able to offer more slots.
The state of Missouri has recognized this, and it's stepped in. This has been an issue in the state capitol for any number of years going back. So that's why this new program's come along, just the situation you're describing, right?
Correct.
Yeah. Has it always been this way, or this shortage, or is it something of a recent development?
The childcare model has been broken for a while. It's essentially when both parents or all parents enter the workforce and we didn't rethink childcare. It's been an issue. We did see some providers exit the system during the COVID years because that was hard for them. Early educators were those essential workers that needed to be open despite the challenges that everyone was facing.
You know, with prices this high, Doctor, I'm wondering, is child care even still a viable option for most parents?
We see a lot of parents, especially women, having to make the decision to not work at all because it just, once you subtract the cost of childcare,
It's not worth it.
Correct.
You hear that all the time.
Yes, yes.
And that's a crisis, isn't it?
That is a crisis. We believe that anyone that wants to work and contribute to society in that way should be able to do that.
So is this high price for child care not only parents, it's hitting not only parents, but also providers, right? And why don't providers lower the price if the cost is driving away demand?
Because they can't. So most of the cost for childcare is going towards wages of early educators, and early educators don't make that much. So in some fast food places, the workers actually make more than some early childhood educators. So it's not as if childcare providers are trying to make a large profit. They are actually operating on very small profit margins. But for the health and safety of children, you have to have at least two adults in the classroom with the kids. So personnel costs are expensive, even with low wages.
It was interesting to me. You've described the problem as this devastating loop of realities. Providers can't get a reliable income, which causes them not to have reliable staffing, which means fewer spots are available for parents, which drives up the cost of childcare, which makes parents less likely to consistently pay, which leads to providers not getting a reliable income. It's just a crazy loop that the whole system's in right now.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah.
Which also leads to workforce shortages because employers outside of childcare need workers who might not be entering the workforce because of issues with childcare.
So tell me about this new program. How is it going to help parents here, Toni? How do you see it working?
Yeah, so Childcare Works can cut the cost of childcare by as much as 75%.
Wow.
Because the state's part of the share that they're sharing with employers and employees is on a sliding scale based on the household income of families and the age of the children.
Right.
So the younger the child, the lower the household income, the more the state will pay. Employers have a flat rate that they're paying for tuition, and then families are left with whatever is left after those contributions, but no less than $2,600 a year. So that could be they were once paying $16,000 a year and going all the way down to $2,600.
So this is a tremendous opportunity for parents of young kids here in Missouri.
Yes, absolutely.
How does this program compare to other states, Doctor? I mean, how competitive is it? How generous is it compared to what other states are doing?
So there are not many states that have a program like this. I think Missouri may be the fourth or fifth state in the nation.
You don't
with
think
a
of
program.
Missouri leading the pack very often, but here's one example where it's toward the front.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Another state, Michigan, the state splits the cost in a even 1/3 with employers, the state and families. So Child Care Works is similar to that, although Missouri could pay more than 1/3 depending on the sliding scale.
You know, I know there's people out there listening who are thinking, could a parent still get these benefits if they work in Missouri, but maybe they live on the Kansas side of the state line?
The families do need to be Missouri residents.
Okay, that's a hard, cold fact of reality here, right?
Yes.
So it'll help cut the cost for parents. What does it do for providers and employers, Dr. Sturdivant?
So it helps us stabilize things. So for providers, knowing that they have this steady income, they don't have to worry about families exiting their services because they can't pay the bills or being late on payments as they search for funding. And that stabilizing could also help with staffing, opening up a classroom because they can feel more certain that they'll get the payments. For employers, they have this aid in retention and recruitment of employees. And then there are also tax credits for private sector employers. So up to 50% of their costs for a small business and 40% of their costs for a non-small business. And we're looking at a cap of about $500,000. So they really can benefit from lowering their tax burden from participating.
And a tax credit's this money, that's a dollar for dollar reduction in the amount of money they owe the state of Missouri for taxes, right?
So those are federal tax credits.
Federal tax credits.
Yes.
How did the federal government get involved with this?
So the Big Beautiful Bill actually included an increase in the employer child care tax credit. So there was previously a tax credit, but it was increased here because this child care crisis is not unique to Kansas City or Missouri. It is a national issue.
So bottom line for me, how much could this wind up cutting the costs for parents? What do you see happening out there?
We can see as much as 75% of a reduction. I think, it depends on the household income of the family because up to 555% of the federal poverty level is eligible for this. Of course, those families at that higher end would receive less in state funds, but you're going to see at least 60% just from the 30% from the employer and the amount from the state.
So are parents clamoring to get into this program?
Yes, so parents need help. What we need, though, is the employers to sign up because...
That's where the issue is.
Correct, because the state funds will only be released when there is a 30% match in the community, which is more than likely the employer.
Okay. And what are you seeing in terms of what's the cause of the reticence for employers getting involved with this program?
I think it's a new program, and we just have a need to get the information out, especially about the tax credits, because that helps with the return on their investment.
Once employers are hearing about this program, are they pretty much willing to sign up?
I can say they're very interested. A lot of them are aware that child care is an issue. depending on where they are in their fiscal year, it might be hard to sign up right now. But luckily, as long as there are funds available, there will be more application periods. So I think over time, we'll see more and more employers being able to sign up.
So just to be clear, there's a cap on the amount of money that's available for this program. Are you close to hitting that cap right now?
I am not sure yet. So I submitted the first round of applications for the Kansas City region. I don't know what the other parts of the state submitted. So I will find out sometime this month how much of those state funds have been allocated and what's left.
So you talk about families receiving, a big savings when it comes to the cost of child care. How do you see this helping the state of Missouri overall?
I mean, I think one thing is that to participate in this, families have to be residents of Missouri. So I think that is a incentivizing fact because there aren't neighboring states that have a program like this. And then also we know that high quality child care is a benefit to all of the community because of the impact that it has on developing children and how they then turn into more adults that are able to succeed in the workforce and in families and relationships. So it's a benefit for all when kids are getting what they need.
It's interesting. This is really a new way of looking at the cost of childcare. This does change the focus of it from being a parent's only responsibility to being the responsibility of the community and even the state.
Yes, that's true. And that's how we've looked at K-12 education for quite some time. And I think we just need to catch up to the fact that if all of the adults in the home are working, then just like K-12 is a community responsibility, then so does early education need to be.
I wonder, it's unusual for the state of Missouri to take the lead on something like this, but I know the Missouri Chamber of Commerce got involved because it saw the impact it was having on small businesses across the state, and the chamber made this a priority a couple of years ago to get this done, right?
Yes, and we also surveyed employers, and they did mention seeing issues with recruitment, retention, with employees needing to change schedules and things because of childcare. So the hurt is felt beyond a household for sure.
This is just the beginning. I saw that employers needed to submit applications by October 1st. Is it too late for them to enroll now?
Too late to enroll in this first round, but there is an application window set to open in December and another in March, as long as funding is still available from the state. So I would say that if there is interest, to reach out anyway, because we do plan to keep enrolling.
So what's Mark's role in all this, the Mid-America Regional Council? I gather is it coordinating this program here locally, or what's the involvement?
Yes, that's true. So we are working to recruit employers, make sure providers know how to sign up to get paid in the system. But we're also looking at the system as a whole. So looking at workforce issues that can lead to more slots being available and how we can recruit more early educators into the system. We're looking at the quality of our programs to make sure that families have places that they feel comfortable leaving their children while they go to work. So just making sure that the system as a whole is in this ideal place in the region.
You just said to make sure that there's enough providers to provide the child care that's necessary. Is that part of the problem right now? Is there a shortage of early childhood educators?
Yes, there is. So we do know that there are centers that have closed classrooms because they don't have teachers for those classrooms. So if they had those teachers, we could put some dent in the shortage just by solving the workforce issue. But even with that, we would still need more programs to open.
I gather part of the issue here is how much money these folks get paid for the hard work they do. Is this program going to raise the pay ultimately for child care work?
It can over time. So the hope is that child care providers will be able to charge the true cost of quality when it becomes more affordable for parents, because right now they are capped at what parents can kind of afford to pay. And so with more payers, the hope is that they will be able to pay what it actually should cost so that they can raise wages and provide benefits if they're not currently.
Like everything, in big problems that come along, this is complicated stuff, isn't it? You're playing chess on several levels, trying to get this service up and running at an acceptable level.
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. When will this program get to parents so they can start saving to do it? The thing is up and running now, right?
Well, the application has closed. The first round of funds should be released next month. So we're almost there, where we'll get to see the benefits for other parents.
How much interest did you have from parents out there?
I mean, more than I can quantify.
Really?
It's pretty universal that childcare is very expensive, and that families have trouble affording it. Sometimes they're paying more for childcare than they are for their mortgages. So it's a big issue.
Sometimes they're paying more for child care than for their own mortgages. That'll take some a lot of folks listening maybe aren't aware that the cost of these services has just gone up so dramatically in the last decade, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so much so. Well, that's Dr. Toni Sturdivant. Again, she's Director of Early Learning at MARC, that's coordinating this program here in Kansas City. Thanks so much for coming in. I hope you have continued success with the program. I can imagine how popular it's going to be going forward.
Great. Thanks for having me.
Thanks so much. You bet.
That was our host, Steve Kresge, talking with Dr. Toni Sturdivant about Child Care Works, a program coming to Missouri that will cut the cost of childcare for parents. Up to Date is a production of KCUR, and this episode was produced by me, Ellen Beshuk. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back again soon.